Welcome to Let's Talk Possibility. This is episode 26 on the 26th of March 2012. This evening we're talking to Yashivan, the founder of firststep.me and the author of The Fun Side of Being Serious. Thank you for joining us. Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Possibility, the show where we talk about what is possible. What's possible in the world with you, our viewers, what's possible in the world when you do things each week. I'm your host, Monge Zimtati, with...
I'm here, Talana Simpson.
And welcome our guest as well, Yashivan.
Sweet, thanks for having me.
Yashivan, I think, is the man that I know of, who's all about the fun side of being serious. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Is we want to know, can you actually be serious about something, like really, really focus and do something that is serious, but with a fun element to it, so actually have fun while doing it?
Yes, definitely. And Yashivan has been doing that for a couple of years now. When did you start?
The fun side of being serious, when I started, I guess when I was born. I rocked up screaming. No, I started the fun side of being serious. Well, I started firststep.me when I was in 2004, and then the website www.firststep.me, and it was basically the idea of very serious content and trying to get people to think about where to study, where to work, careers, gap years. And I think when you start building a website like that and that sort of information, you realize it's so serious and that the market needs something cool and funky. And I think that's where the sort of fun came into it, because I realized I was dealing with a very serious issue in terms of careers and what people are doing with their life choices.
Yes.
And I had to present it in a very cool way. And it was more to do with sort of mindset for what the product wanted, and a mindset for what our users wanted on the website.
Yes.
And so the fun side of being serious, our sort of payoff line spawned, and it grew into its own brand of itself on top of that. So
we'll get back to that a bit later. But I mean, in your third year of varsity or final year, you're not thinking about starting a business. You're playing around. You're going to parties.
You're having fun.
Exactly. Wasn't that a bit difficult? It's like you must have had some stern conversations with your parents. You were in business school at the time.
Yeah, sure. I mean, no one really thinks about starting their own company in their final year, especially of university, because you're groomed to go into corporate, or you're groomed to go and get a job.
Get a job.
Yeah, to get a job.
That's what they...
And they do have courses called entrepreneurship, which is it's quite funny when lecturers lecture on entrepreneurship, because most of the lecturers have never really started their own companies, or had failed, or had basically just are teaching the mechanics or the sort of theory behind entrepreneurship, which is absolutely nonsense. I mean, the practical side of entrepreneurship or business is what you really want to show people.
And very rarely, especially in sort of online and web businesses, very rarely do you meet entrepreneurs who are, for lack of a better expression, suits.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know?
Yeah.
And they
that's
teach
true.
you to be a suit in business school.
But there's nothing wrong with wearing a suit. I love wearing a suit.
But there's the wearing of a suit, and there's the expression of being a suit. Like, studying in business school.
But isn't that what we're talking about tonight? Sorry, you bring the fun side to the suit. So you bring your quirky, out of the box, funky way of looking at the world, and yet you can wear a suit
You have to wear a suit, otherwise no one takes you seriously. I mean, that's the whole play on this word here. I mean, I was 22, rocking up at big corporate meetings, fresh in university, and I couldn't go there in jeans and a t-shirt. No one would take you seriously at 22 in South Africa, of all places. And so I ended up just wearing a suit, and people decided, hey, look, I mean, take notice of the guy, and that's the difference. I mean, you're right. The suit. A sort of corporate worker is always groomed out there, but I think it's all changed now. So it's all dynamically different in the corporate world.
It's transforming, it's transforming rapidly.
A lot of the suits are actually wearing, I mean, quite literally not wearing suits at work anymore. So, it's different.
So you started in firststep.me, this company which is basically has a lot of content and information and for the youth to help them make serious decisions. But you bring a slant of fun into it.
Yeah, I think, there's no better word to put it that way. I think when you want to talk to a market, young or old, I mean, I think people want something that's very serious in a way that they can relate to it. I think in terms of our content, we put forward ideas like, superhero careers. Why Spider-Man is Spider-Man at night. He's a photographer. During the day, that's how he pays his bills. So we come up with how to become a photographer. Marvel come up with how to become Spider-Man. So, we work with cool brands as well. So it's not just about also the users, it's also about the people we work with. So we need to work with clients that kind of can also relate to our sort of interpretation of what we're trying to put forward. And I think the fun side of being serious was the best way to address this issue. We called it a career recession. There's this financial recession going on, but what's the reason behind it? We said there's a career recession when people have no idea what to do with their lives and their careers once they finished high school and university. And people still, well into their working days, are still asking questions about their careers and making life-changing decisions.
Yeah.
And what better way to address it than do it this way? I mean, as I said to you guys earlier, that we are trying to become this sort of, doing what Rolling Stones did, the Rolling Stones magazine did for the music industry. We are doing the same for the career sort of industry. And obviously in the English-speaking market, we're doing that, and we're going to change, into different dynamic languages. But yeah, it's about being different in a cool way. Yeah.
So then you started off here in South Africa, quite small. You were sleeping on the floor, someone's place, and like you roughed it. You really
I roughed it
to get it going. And
yeah, I think a lot of guys in the internet market don't really know how to. It's different. The internet market in South Africa, I find, is very closed up, and the guys really don't know how to really struggle and really run it as a business. And I ran my company, even though it was online, but ran it as a business. And when you run a business, you ask anyone who's run a business, they will come up with horror stories. I mean, I hear anyone, like corner shops, and they'll tell you like stories about how much they owe, or, what they had to go through to make their business a success. And when I started, I moved up from Durban, the warmth of my parents' house, and I moved up to Johannesburg. Literally, nothing but just my two clients who were partnering with First Step and this website and a laptop, and I rented out a very cool apartment, and which I couldn't afford. I had no money for that, I'll tell you that for sure. My business partners, who were my drinking buddies at university, disappeared. And then I had to make this company work. And when I took it over on my own, that's when it really kicked. And then I knew that the sacrifices I was making was because of myself, and I really had to put it forward.
So my question is, that didn't sound like fun, though.
No, it was fun. I had jungle oats for 10 days. I remember for breakfast.
I remember that story because on the one side, when I spoke to Yashivan a couple of months ago, in fact it was a bit over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask you this question again: how do you know when you are at the bottom, when it's not fun anymore? Like, what's the lowest?
Yeah, sure.
For you, since you started firststep.me?
I don't think I ever want to go through a jungle oat story where I literally had no food. I think that was like a borderline starvation in terms of what it could have been. I mean, I could have literally run out of food, and I had it was literally no communication back then, because I had at the time, I remember I was on a pay-as-you-go sort of thing, so I couldn't even phone anyone. It was one of those sort of situations where there was no call for help. So I think running out of food when you're running a business is detrimental to yourself. So you're putting your health at risk. So I think that would be the sort of bottom line for me. But I've grown up, and I think you know when to quit when you see something, when you realize, okay, your business is going to crash anytime soon. And I think you've learned it enough to make a decision to get out of that situation before it happens, and so you can see things. And I think that it's not about what the bottom line is. It's about knowing before you can crash. And I think it's about being a bit more intelligent and being sharper and understanding what you're doing with your business. And I think a lot of people are lacking that, especially online in South Africa. Yeah.
Okay, so online business, we know it's about creating content and educating people around careers, stuff. You went from eating junglers for 10 days and to now where you're actually living overseas. You've taken the company global.
Yes.
You've written 2 books. You've done a documentary. You're busy, I think, launching the next one.
Yes.
Wow. Are you having fun?
Yes, I am. Sleep when you're dead, right?
So I suppose the point is you've been you're doing serious stuff. I mean, I think writing books and making a documentary. So how are you having the fun, though?
Because making content and being creative is cool. And it's hard work. It is. It's a lot of hard work, and it's not easy. It's not as though one morning I wake up and we put a documentary together. It's very difficult, but it's so cool. I mean, I get to kind of work with the coolest people on the planet. I get to see a lot of the world. I am, it's something that I know it's going to pay off down the line. I know that I'm building something big. And I know from the very beginning when I started my sort of projects and my company, I knew that this is what I want and this is how I'm going to get there. If I had told you that when I started my company back in 2004 that it started off on just borrowed money for a laptop and 6 months web hosting space, and I turned it into something sort of very sustainable and something very solid, and I'd be sitting here talking about the war stories. I like to call them war stories and challenges that I've been through. Yeah, I mean, I would have said no ways. And it's funny that it was something internal that drove me to grow into something bigger. And I have fun doing it because I thrive off this. I deem it fun. A lot of people may think I'm crazy. Who wants to eat jungle oats for 10 days?
So but I suppose it comes down to what we all find is fun. I mean, I love my work as well.
Yeah, sure.
I absolutely love and enjoy what I do, and I have fun.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't work.
Sure.
I'm just always busy doing whatever I'm doing. I'm having both seeing friends, or I'm working, or I'm writing.
But now, because it's great to be, it's great to do what you love and have fun while doing it and have the ethos of sort of enjoying and doing work that you love. How do you not lose the plot and, have fun for fun's sake and forget that there's an accountant to be answerable to and,
bills to pay.
Bills to pay and all those things and yourself to pay as a result,
sure. Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, those are challenges that will, eat you up all the time. I mean, being financially stable has never been an easy thing. In fact, especially online, it's difficult to run a sustainable business or keep afloat. And it's interesting because that's what you need. That's sort of your fuel. You need those sort of worries because if you didn't have those sort of uncertainties, then there would be nothing to sort of work towards to fix and to improve on. And you want to be in a constant sort of Kaizen improvement sort of mode. You want to always improve, and I think it's good to have these sort of worries. If you weren't stressed out about these sort of issues, then your business wouldn't grow because you wouldn't be trying to fix things and trying to make it better. So I thrive off that. I eat that for breakfast now instead of jungle oats. So I think that's a better way to look at it. Yeah.
So part of the problem solving then is what feeds you, what you enjoy.
Yeah, of course, 100%. I mean, you want a business that challenges you. I mean, why sit back and Why would you want an easy business that is absolutely, just kind of not adventurous and not sort of, expanding and it's, run-of-the-mill sort of things? I mean, you can make it like that, but I mean, then hopefully your life is a lot bigger than your business. But when your business is sort of part of you and part of your life, you want it to be interesting. Otherwise, life would be boring, right? And I am my business, and the business is me, and we're one big unit. That's how I deem myself. I hate that word entrepreneur. I can't stand it. I think it's been so badly used at the moment that I'm trying to tell everyone that you are a business. Even if you're an employee at a company or you're a street sweeper, you're still a business. You've got a contract to do something. That's your job, and that's sort of independence that you have. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. I know I run my company the way I do, and I'm very independent in the way I do it, and I get to travel the world and get to make cool things and great content. But everyone can do the same, even if you've got a normal run-of-the-mill job. It's the way that you manipulate your job into suiting what you want, and I think a lot of people fail to do that. It's a mindset.
Well, it just reminds me of the story, the fish.
Yes.
Fish story. There's a book called Fish. I think it's fascinating. It's the guys who sell at a fish market in, I think it's Seattle, and I mean they just sell fish. How boring can be selling fish? But they've turned it into a whole show where they actually throw the fish around, from when you choose which fish you want, it gets thrown over the counter to be weighed and thrown to the next guy to be packed.
Sure,
and
definitely.
They have so much fun, and that's part of the ethos. They come up with 4 things, and play while you work is one of the main themes.
Main things, yeah. So, I mean, how did you come up with, the title, the thinking of
the fun side of being serious?
How did that come up?
Because now, why you reminding yourself that it's now actually the title of a series of books now.
Yes.
The fun side of being serious. Book 1 is around how to start an internet business. And you've just launched now your second in the
And that's
Which
book
is-
2, The Fun Side of Being Serious 2.0, yeah.
Which is about going global.
Go
Or
Go
global.
global or go home.
Yeah. There's a third one in the mix somewhere at the back of my head. But
sure.
I haven't started. No, well, I have. Okay, I have. I have started working on the third one. But that's quiet. That's a little secret, which...
Shh, don't tell anyone.
okay, I won't tell anyone yet. But
But the,
yeah.
the fun side of
The-
being serious?
Yeah,
Where
I
did
mean,
that-
the book was going to be called something else. I can't remember. And something bizarre. And it was very much online. And I didn't want it to be online because my life is definitely offline. Even though I run an online business, I'm not online as some of the guys that I meet. They like perpetually live their life online. And I want to be outside. I want fresh air. I want to live life. And I realized the fun side of being serious is so much more. It's got more value to it than just talking about my adventures in business. I mean, the book is broken up into 2 sections. It's got a textbook to it, which tells you how to create a sustainable business and using online as the way forward. And that's what I'm all about. And then the second part is obviously the sort of biographical, the autobiography side about my story and through business. So there's a theoretical and a practical side. And the first book was the beginning of my adventures, South Africa in particular. And the next book is obviously how we went global, filmed the documentary, and wrote the book, actually. The book series is quite an interesting story itself. And I realized that the fun side of being serious is exactly how I was living my life and how I was running this company. It was the payoff line for firststep.me. And I remember sitting, I think it was with my PR manager, Janine Daniel, and I said to her, she was, I remember she was keen for a different name just to try and motivate the sort of call to action. If someone wanted a book about business or online business or about, improving oneself through business, they want something like that. And even my producer in London, Jonathan Williams, had the same sort of idea. And I said, no, the fun side of being serious. And it was actually my publisher, Simon Nye, who was like, yes, that works. And I think Simon saw the sort of business angle from it where he wanted to expand on the fun side of being serious. It's not just about business. It could be applied to anything. So the fun side of being serious could apply to anyone doing anything in their lives and just thinking about their life in a different sort of way. And it's a cool sort of ideology. Yeah.
So how did you, before you wrote the book, you were running firststep.me and the fun side of being serious came up. Do you enjoy writing? Is it something that you always wanted to do? Like bring out a book?
No, I never envisioned myself as a writer. I don't know what I envisioned myself. I always have that story about I always want to be a pilot. I still want to be a pilot, a pirate. No, a pilot. But yeah, I still want to be a pilot. I do. I really want to fly
Is that your
planes.
superhero career?
Yeah, man, that's cool. Get in a plane and fly.
You talk about superheroes quite a lot, though.
They're cool.
What kind of superhero? What's your superhero persona?
No, I'm not sure. I've never. Tough one.
Don't you have one?
Now I'm in the hot seat. Now you're asking me what my superhero persona. I don't,
Just-
Who's your
yeah.
favorite superhero?
Oh, there's a number, but I've got to be careful here where I tread because we tight with Marvel. I do like Batman. I really like the concept behind. Well, I think I like Christopher Nolan. I remember I was on radio recently. I was in Germany. I was doing a radio show, and they asked me. Some guy phoned in. This gentleman phoned in, and he was asking, "What's the coolest jobs? What would be the coolest jobs that you would recommend?" And I said, and they were hinting towards working in normal corporate. And I said, "No ways. I would love to work on the set of Batman under Christopher Nolan. I mean, think about that. I mean, that's a cool job. You imagine how many stories you must have to work on, and that's the fun side of being serious.
yeah, so
Yeah.
but that kind of like goes into, because I'm quite keen to hear a bit more about your documentary.
Yeah.
Because not only, the documentary is around breaking stereotypes.
Yes. Sure.
But that must have been fun. Just
Yeah. Breaking.
having someone walk around with a camera and film you for.
Yeah, breaking stereotypes was interesting because I think we were talking earlier about types of content, like broadcast content, and then we were talking about online content, and it's exactly what Kara said about this. And I was trying to, I don't know, I was trying to find the in between. Were we able to make sort of quality broadcast sort of content virally? Is it gonna work? And I don't think since the Blair Witch Project anyone's really done it properly. And I knew I had a funny back of my mind feeling that this was just going to be an online sort of piece. And we pulled off an hour and a half full feature for an online piece, and it was wicked. It was a really cool adventure. We walked around with the camera, formed adventures in Europe. A lot of people had no clue I was from South Africa. I look Indian. I've got Indian heritage. I'm fifth generation, and they expect me to be like real Indian. They don't expect a big South African, jock accent coming out of there. And I'm like, hey, this is who I am. And I think the idea behind the documentary was a visual interpretation of First Step. Talk about gap years, talk about careers, talk about what people are doing with their sort of lives, and also show the world South Africa. I'm an ambassador for South Africa when I go overseas. I think anyone is with a South African passport. You're an ambassador for this country wherever you go, and you need to represent the country. And I wanted to on a good level, and I think we did a good job. The documentary was a fantastic experience, a great partnership. My producer, Duma Msuleku, is wonderful. And, working with those sort of people, especially meeting the people overseas, was great. And good journey. I'll do it again. I am going to do it again. 100%. I can't wait to make another one, actually. Yeah. So, yeah.
Fun side of doing something serious. Documentary. Documentaries are...
Yeah, the
serious.
documentaries themselves are serious, and you envision something really boring when you think of a documentary,
yeah,
actually.
Sure.
Yeah, something that's been documented.
So in your business, right? Coming from the ethos of the fun side of being serious, what's the culture like in your business?
Yeah, it's a different culture in terms of it's not like my business is run totally different to, I think, a lot of... In fact, I've never met or been introduced to any business like mine. My entire team is split all over the world. I've got guys in South Africa, obviously. I've got guys in Europe. We've got a new guy now in South America with the new documentary that we've just commissioned, Daniel Alvarez. And we've got a guy in Sydney with a little project that we're running. And we just communicate online, Skype, emails, messaging services, and it's that's the way that we interact with each other, and it's cool, it's funky, and guys are very interested in what we're doing and how we're making it work. And I think the key was to live the business and be the business. So I always talk about Singapore. And I was in Singapore for such a short time. Singapore was like a blink of an eye. I was there for like literally a stopover. But I always say that I was in Singapore and I ran my company there for that split second, because I got to Singapore. I just got out of New Zealand, and I'd been in New Zealand for a year. And I got to Singapore and I felt like my life had just come back. Like business, I just loved it. I was the tallest guy walking around. Everyone was looking up at me. Walking around in jeans and a t-shirt, and it was hot as hell. And that was the day that I realized I wanted to film this documentary, when I wanted to make Breaking Stereotypes, because that's when I felt myself again. New Zealand was a very tough year for me. New Zealand was the year that I learned how to really man up and harden up. It was good that I went to New Zealand, but I needed to reawake myself, and I got to Singapore. And I remember I would pick up my phone. I could be anywhere in the world, and I could pick up my phone and phone Duma, phone Simon or phone Jonathan in London, and chat to them and say, listen, this is my plan. What do you guys think? And they'll give me an answer immediately. And the world had become so connected. And I realized that you could form a team of individuals globally and not be in the same room. Now that's cool. That's really fun. That you can interact, work together, pull off a project. The book series, the documentary series, and FirstStep.me are pulled off by people all over around the world, and we pull off projects. We pull off products. We've got overall projects. Yeah.
So just to go back to, you mentioned the book just now as well.
Isn't that cover cool? The cover's cool.
I don't know. This one appeals to my geeky side. The new one.
Come on.
Okay, the first one sort of appeals to the superhero wanting to go out and change the world
so
now.
People can't see the screen.
Okay.
It's literally, it looks like a person showing their
Right.
superhero costume underneath their shirt.
The first cover was done by a guy named Ludwig Staller, and he's actually based in Austria and Germany. And that guy, he's an artist. He loves it, but he's also a superhero fan of note. So I think I know he doesn't like the second cover. He hates it. He wants more.
And the second cover
because
is a man in a spacesuit with a tie around it.
Not sure if you can see it, but it sort of appeals to the gamer in me, the person who just wants to go out and play and not talk to anyone, put on my headset and whip out my PSP, It appeals to that side of me.
Sure, okay.
So this one, the first book was more about starting and, doing something cool and kickstarting a business. What is this one about? Very briefly, the second one, the fun side of being serious 2.0, go global or go home.
It's about taking life and business by the horns and growing. I think and going big, going for it. I mean, the internet has allowed us to actually go really big, and I find it very interesting that I meet a lot of older individuals in corporate who are now interviewing for MD positions and CEO positions, and they're in their 40s or they're nearing their 40s, and they find it sometimes they find it offbeat that I can sit with CEOs and heads of business and have a conversation with them and actually be able to be ranked with them. And the reason is because the internet has allowed me to kind of have a platform where it's leveled the playing field, and I'm now able to compete in business with people well ahead of my age group, and which is awesome. And that's what this book's about. It's about telling people that you can do anything. You can be 10 years old and get into business. You could be 80 years old and get into business. And the textbook, we did it differently. We kind of said, you Sylvester Stallone and you punching meat downstairs in the fridge and you're building your way through business, and then you become Rambo and you wear this big red bandana, and then the next step is you become Batman. You got a utility belt. You're very skilled at business, and then afterwards your business grows so big that it becomes almost out of control, like the Incredible Hulk. And then you need to have the sort of human side to control your business, and that's how we actually positioned the textbook, because we wanted to kind of use that sort of superhero sort of out the box sort of feel to the internet, because that's what the internet is. It's almost uncontrollable. It's so dynamic, and now people are trying to control it. So some people are trying to say, hey, hang on a sec, it's going to go too wild. We need to just calm it down a little. So that's what the book has done. It showed that I created a global platform, I created a global business, but I did it on a very wild platform, wild west. The World Wide Web is really crazy. It's out the box, and I did it just using the normal tools of business that anyone would do with any business. If you're running a business down the road, or you're running a big corporate, or you're running an online business, it's the same sort of
same kind of principles,
same calculations, no difference.
And just I think it's sounds that the culture that you brought into it is having fun while being serious about business.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. I think.
And also I think the other thing that I got as well is that have the confidence to approach the people that everyone thinks are unapproachable, like big company executives and that kind of thing, and approach them with this.
Wear your superhero shirt under your suit.
Yeah, sure.
Like with something that still in South Africa seems like a sort of a harebrained sort of idea, like I have an online business, and in South Africa that's almost unheard of, to be sitting with high-ranking executives at that. I think that's one of the things that I got as well.
Well, if anyone's listening in, this is your last chance to ask us any questions. But if people do want to get hold of you, Yashivan, how can they get hold of you?
People can contact First Step website. So it's they go to www.firststep.me, firststep.me, and you can just send a question through to our contact details, and one of the team guys will send it through to me. That's the best way to do it. Email is best to contact us, and then if they want to contact the website itself, they can use one of maybe the social media platforms, but email, there's contact details on the website, so www.firststep.me, and it rocks. It's a very, very simple way to communicate when you're running a global website.
You're running a business.
I think
through those kind of mechanisms.
Yeah, I think going back to what Mangezi was saying about approaching executives, I think also opening up new media to traditional, the sort of traditional business, and we want to sort of integrate that. And it was very important. I mean, our clients, our sponsors got behind it. The accounting body, ACCA, said, "Hey, come on, we need accountants, in new media." And new media doesn't understand they need accountants. So we bridged that gap with this book. And yeah, you're right. That's where that's where you are able to sort of compete on the corporate or the executive level, and go to these big corporates and say to them, "Hey, listen, this is what you guys need. You need something that's going to kind of bridge the gap." Internet's growing very quickly.
It is, and our time has also come to an end now. So maybe just to end off, Yashivan, if there was one thing you could tell anyone that's listening around the fun side of being serious, what would it be? The concept, we're talking about having fun while being serious.
I'm going to be a bit serious now when I say this. But in terms of local, in terms of this country, in particular South Africa, I always say this: be South African. We've got everything. we're very silly, and we tend to kind of just always harp on the past, focus on the future, be South African, we cool, we rock, we've got all this sort of, it's in us as South Africans, it's in our blood to rock. And then globally, I think every individual on the planet needs to just be, just be a really, good individual and rock out there, and I think it's important. And I can see a guy asking a question. And no, I haven't.
So the question is, have you ever failed in any of your businesses?
No, not really. Once, I guess, as a startup, when I tried to start an online ticketing agency back in 2006. I'm going to speak very fast because I know we're running out of time. Okay, we can slow it down. Yes, I did once. It was a startup. It crashed and burned. I went into business with drinking buddies and not business partners. Drinking buddies make very good drinking buddies and very bad business partners, and business partners make very good drinking buddies.
So
learn from my mistakes.
Yeah. But I think you did mention earlier on, you have learned a lot. You have failed at things that you've attempted with the current business. The business hasn't necessarily failed, but you have
challenges.
I call them
challenges. I never call them failures.
And you've learned from them such that the next time you do something, you do it.
Yeah, you improve. It's good
with more learning.
I think the most talented. I was told this, and I always remember this for the rest of my life. It was my sister actually who told me this. I'll never forget that. She told me that the most talented individuals will have the greatest challenges in life, and it's good. And you need to have those challenges to keep you going and keep you driving. And that's why I say globally, everyone around the world needs to start empowering themselves, going into business or treating themselves like a business, even if they whatever, they're sportsmen, whatever they are, they need to value themselves. You need to value yourself in business no matter what you do. And I think that's the key. Every individual on the planet, you come from a third world country, first world country, whatever it is, value yourself. Put a price on yourself and take it and go for it. Yeah.
Well, you can find out more about our guests on our website. Just, put into your search engine Let's Talk Possibility and you'll get all the details.
We're also on Facebook, so it's facebook.com/Let's Talk Possibility.
That's it. So I hope you now go out and find your superhero outfits and have some fun while you're doing something serious. And please leave us your comments on our Facebook page or Twitter.
Let's continue the conversation. Thank you for joining us.